Welcome. Let's begin with a very interesting topic today, and that's global city. Now, you must be thinking about what is this global city. Every city which is in this globe should be called a global city. Now, that's not exactly what does a global city mean. A global city is a bit different from what you are trying to understand. The idea is initially it was given based on the size, but later on it was believed that size cannot be an only category or an only parameter to understand the vastness of a city. So, what all was included was the trade, the economy, the infrastructure, the level of multinational corporations being established in, the innovation that is coming into the region, the employment opportunities, the communication, the development that is being seen. Based on this, the idea of global city was propounded. Now, this global city was propounded initially in 1991. So, all these concepts of global city, its city, megacities have been a comparatively recent topics in the issue of urbanization, and therefore they have been added to your new syllabus because this is a part of the upcoming developments. So in 1991, Sakia Sasen in the book The Global City, New York, London and Tokyo. So in the book, the only three cities that were included were New York, London and Tokyo, and it was believed that these were the only city during that time which could be considered as a global city. However, later on you had numerous cities like Houston, Mexico City, Amsterdam, Paris, Zurich. All of those were considered part of the global cities. Again, these global cities had another names as well. So some of the interesting names were the World Center, Alpha City, World City. So those were some of the important names. So Alpha City is one of the very important names. There could be a direct question, which of the following is an Alpha City, or Alpha City is also known as. So the acronyms, as we have seen in the class on EDGE cities, the different name of EDGE cities. Similarly, the various names of the global cities also become very important for your examination perspective. Now we have been hearing about mega cities as well. How do we differentiate a global city from a mega city? Mega city, I can simply say it's very simple to understand, and it's based on one single parameter, and that's population. So if the population is over 10 million, we say it is a mega city. We believe 8 of the 10 top megacities are located in Asia. So top megacities are Tokyo, Jakarta, Delhi, Manila in Philippines. Then you have Seoul in Korea. So those are some of the major centers or major megacities that are there. And we believe that with the rising urbanization, the number of megacities are rising. As we have already seen, Asia has the highest proportion of megacities in the top 10 cities that are there. The next important aspect is why this concept of global cities came into existence. What was the need? So there were two important things that we understand here. First was the centralization of mass production. So all the production that was taking place was centralized at one place. That led to evolution of these global cities. The next important concept was emergence of networks. So as more and more networks grew, you had that center that gained more prominence. Globalization of economies was again important. So more the globalization you had, more the the role of the city that could be diversified, and then you had the transnational corporations that started to establish. The rise of the transnational corporations, and those were some of the basic, I could say, parameters that led to establishment of a global city. Now when we talk about global cities, what are the characteristics of a global city? As we talked about the characteristics of each city, under global cities you have cultural institutions which are part of it. Lots of services could be part of there, and that you have lots of exchange activities that are part of their system. Multinational corporations would have their headquarters. So based on the number of headquarters, again, is an important count to understand. Not only the multinational headquarters, you have the financial headquarters also that are there. Trade is one of the major aspects that is important. You have the daily number of people who are taking part in the decision making system. So how good the governance and the decision making system is there, the culture, the economics and the politics of the region, the centers of media and communication, the centers of innovation, technology, and the percentage of the people who are living in that city of that, a significant proportion is being involved in the service activity. So that's again a very important aspect to consider. So with this, all these aspects, we understand that these global cities have their own unique characteristics. But with this development, there were indeed the associated problems that arose. The associated problems were development of ethnic conflicts, segmented labor markets, a kind of consumerist lifestyle that could be seen, and the people were slowly and gradually trying to move away from the existing idea, and that existing idea was a kind of territorial base that could be seen. So the things that came in was the A.T. Kenre's Global City Index. Now this index was based on 5 parameters. Those 5 parameters are very, very important. But however, one important thing that we would understand here is the ranking. In 2017, New York stood at the first place. However, in 2016, the first ranking was for London. But later on, it was realized that New York superseded London in terms of the activity. So there are 27 different metrics that are taken into account on 5 variables. Those 5 variables are very, very important. There could be a direct question, which of the following is a variable to understand the A.T. Kenre's Global City Index. So the variables are business activity, the human capital that is there, the information exchange, the cultural experience, and political engagement. So these 5 topics become really, really important, and based on these 5 aspects, you have the various subparts of those which are divided under the 27 metrics that would be part of the Global City Metrics. The next is the Global Power City Index. Now all these indexes are important, given by different institutions with different variables. So the variables are important, the indexes are important. Global Power City Index 2011 talks about the reports that have been given by the Institute of Urban Strategies at the Mori Memorial Foundation in 2011, and it talked about the various actors that are there and the functional areas. The functional areas are economy, research and development, the level of cultural interaction that's there, environment, accessibility, and livability. So those were the 6 parameters under which the Global Power City Index was given, and then similar to that you had the Global City Competitive Index that came up. This competitive index again ranked the cities on various parameters. One of the important parameter is how economically strong the city is, the amount of human capital involved in it, how effective the institutional system is there in the city, the level of financial maturity, the global appeal, the physical capital that's part of it, and then you have the environmental hazards that are part of it. So as per the 2008, so that's a long back, you have this scenario which shows the major cities which were considered as global cities during that time. The next is the perspective of a global city. Now under the perspectives, we are talking about firstly the advanced producer service production node. So Sasson basically talked about the centers which have more service inclined population. So the percentage of population involved in any activity, if it is more for the service sector, we consider those as a perspective global city. Again, if they are economically doing well, so economic giants are another important centers where you have this global city that has been developing of an international gateway where global trade can take place, economic exchange could take place, cargoes, airports could be established, terminals could be established. It should also be a possible cultural hub as well as political hub. So be it culture, be it political aspect, be it economic aspect, or aspects related to trade, all of those should satisfy this development, and therefore we would be able to define a global city. So that was about the global city. Now some of the important takeaways from this lecture. First is, what are the other names of the global city? Who gave the concept of global city? Which were the first 3 global cities that were there? So New York, London, and Tokyo, as given by the book in the book by Sasson. Similarly, we have the various characteristics of global city, how this global city differs from a mega city, and what are the important aspects that we need to understand for a development of a global city, or under which we can say a city could be categorized under a global city. So with this, we cover our lecture on global cities. All the new topics of your subject have been compiled with your study material and the postal course. So you have the links below, you can just check those out. And again, we would be covering all the new topics before your examination, so stay tuned. Have a wonderful day ahead.